My name is Randy Howell, and you're listening to the Faith and Fishing Podcast.
Welcome to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. I'm Cam.
And I'm Robert. In every episode, we're bringing you faith stories and fishing memories from some amazing members of the fishing community.
So join us as we shed a positive light on all things faith and fishing. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. I'm Cam.
Hey, and I'm Robert.
And this is the episode we've been telling you about. We got a few of the winners from the Jackson Orr Catch Tournament to kind of come on and talk about the charities that they chose to donate to. Before that, I want to apologize because whenever you were listening to this, I need to apologize for last week. So the time that we're recording is this week. My work schedule changed and I completely lost track of what day it was. And so the episode that was supposed to come out on Tuesday, we are recording this on Wednesday night. It still has not come out yet. And I am going to get that put out as soon as we are done recording here tonight. So I want to apologize to y'all. I want to apologize to Matt for not getting his episode out on time. But yeah, Robert, man, how are you doing?
Hey, good, man. Just ready to rock and roll and hear something about these guys' tournaments. We chatted with Dave Hart last week, heard about his charity and his tournament. So I'm looking forward to talking some more about it.
Absolutely, man. And before we do that, we have a couple giveaways to talk about. The first is giving away that hoodie for the 6,000 listens or 6,000 downloads giveaway that we had. So, Robert, we're going to do this really, really scientific here.
All right.
So we had 3 entries, and I need you to pick a number between 1 and 3.
2.
2.
That's the only number between 1 and 3.
Well, you could have picked 1 or 3.
Let's roll with 2.
2. All right. So that is Jody. Let's see. What is that Instagram handle? Bear with me for just a second. I should have had this pulled up, but I don't. And let's see. Jody Hopper on Instagram. I will be reaching out soon. So by the time you listen to this episode, you will have already had me reach out to you. But yeah, so congratulations to Jody. The other giveaway we need to talk about is the big Faith and Fishing Christmas giveaway that we do every year. So we've got some awesome prizes already. I'm still working on getting that prize pack completed. But at the moment, we are going to be giving away Jade's Jigs gift cards, and we are going to be giving away a Black Pack Pro, courtesy of Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle. So really excited for that. Working on a couple other items to add to that as well. So that's going to be awesome. So yeah, let's see. Robert, did you have any announcements you wanted to throw out there?
No, none this week. I've been working like you, crazy schedule. So I still have, I'll take that back. I did sneak out for 2 days, but the cold front came through, did a little pond action and really didn't get anything. So, just, ready for this new job to slow down a little bit. And so we can get back to the normal fishing schedule.
Awesome. I will say that this is going to be the last episode of season 3. So we will be taking a break over Christmas and New Year's and probably until middle or end of January, so that we can get some work done to get this next season as awesome as it can possibly be. So yeah, looking forward to season 4, but for now, let's go ahead. We'll have a couple words from sponsors, and then we'll go ahead and jump into this episode, man.
All right. A huge selection and crazy fast shipping is already enough to turn heads as an online tackle shop, but Omnia Fishing sets themselves apart with their ambassador program. With Omnia, you can send in fishing reports for your local lakes that recommend baits, structure, tactics, and gear. And when another angler takes your advice and purchases something from your report, you get credit for it to spend at Omnia. The best part means that with Omnia Fishing, you can shop by lake and purchase baits and gear that are proven to work where you're fishing. To get started, go to omniafishing.com and use promo code FNF15 to save 15% on your first order.
Savior Outdoors gives me confidence that no matter what happens, what I take on the water is coming back home with me. With retrieval devices for fishing rods, bow fishing bows, action cams, and even one that can be attached to your other gear, they've got your whole arsenal covered. When one of these devices goes in the drink, it releases a float attached to your gear by 60 feet of line so you can get it back. And the pressure-sensitive filter means that you don't have to worry about rain or dips in the water while landing a fish. At SaviorOutdoors.com, that's SAVUR Outdoors.com, you can use promo code FNFP15 to save 15% and try them for yourself.
All right, first off, let me apologize for clicking on the wrong video there. Second, I do want to add that Savior Outdoors is going to be giving away a retrieval device of the winner's choice for this giveaway as well. So
Cool.
you can choose a split grip or full handle rod retrieval device. You can choose one of the keychain rod retrieval device or retrieval devices. You can choose action cams or the bow fishing bow if that is your cup of tea. But yeah, Jackson, man, welcome back. I believe this may make you the most prolific Faith and Fishing guest now. So congratulations on that honor.
No, it's a pleasure to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited to have you on to kind of talk about this tournament that you put on. So I want to let you go ahead and kind of, if you have any words of to talk about this particular tournament this year and how it went and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, couldn't have done it without everyone sharing it on Facebook, getting the word out without you guys. We ended up having 109 anglers sign up and raise $2,091 for charities, which is simply incredible. And each of the top six, obviously we're going to have someone tonight, but they got to choose a charity or an organization that's near and dear to their heart, which I think is super awesome. And it's really cool to see which ones are chosen. And, the experience this year, it was a little different since it was later in the year. We saw a lot of different states than usual in the past get up there in the top six, and a lot of different charities were chosen this year, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. I am pulling up now the list here of. All right, so just to kind of run over the results of the tournament here. So in sixth place was Frizzy Zamora. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. And in fifth place, we had Kason Wallace. Fourth place, David Walker. Third place, Carl Hudson. Second place, Brett Middlebrook. And first place, we talked to him the other week, Dave Hart. So let's go ahead. We are going to get these guys in bit by bit. So Kason, man, welcome to the show. And congratulations on that fifth place finish, man. So if you don't mind sharing, you don't have to share any of this information if you don't want to. But where did you end up fishing? You can be as specific as a lake or as general as a state.
So I fished in like the North Alabama region. It's like a local little reservoir here.
Nice.
It's about 300 acres, something like that. We only have two, boat launches. We have a lot of local club tournaments here. So lately they've been pulling a lot of water, and I ended up placing like second in our local classic. So I was like, I had the weekend free. This gave me a chance to go fish, and I just went and slung an A-rig around for a while and ended up catching like 90-something inches the first day. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I can go out tomorrow and see what's up. And
For sure.
my son actually ended up having a basketball game Saturday morning. So I had already had Friday off of work, so I took that, caught that. And Saturday I ended up not getting back on the water till 1. Same reason, it was cold all weekend. So went up, ended up losing like a 21 or something like that Saturday. That would have kept me up there. I knew I was like, there's no way that 90 inches in a month or a weekend tournament is going to hold, with all these big names, even if they do go just mess around. And I was like, well, I didn't have Sunday because I had just taken Sunday off to do a little work and stuff like that. So I knew I would drop. I think I was like in first and second the first 2 days, and then I dropped a day. The last day I looked at the last second, I was like, before he cut it off, and he had put up like 100 and something. I was like, yeah, that fish hurt me, I think. And I was surprised when he announced it all that I still was in the the top 6 or whatever and was going to get some stuff for it. And I was like, well, I guess this is cool. So and
Awesome.
the charity that I ended up picking was, I was like, I knew if I had won something, I was like, it was a long shot. I felt like I said, but I felt like if I won something and got to send some money to a charity, it would mean more than what I could have got from, winning anything.
Absolutely.
The prizes and stuff, because the charity that I chose is like real close to me, more than anything than most of I'm not saying anything bad about anything that other guys did, but like personal level, the charity that I chose was like, I don't think it could have gotten me closer to home. So,
For sure. And
just me personally though. So,
and what was that charity?
it was my, so ironically, my mom works there, but a couple of years ago, before I ended up taking, competitively bass fishing, I was on hard times. I ended up having to, not live on the streets, but I was in and out of my mom and dad's house. So, my mom works at a homeless shelter actually downtown in Birmingham, Alabama. And, they had just moved out of an old Firehouse Ministry. That's the name of the shelter, but, it's Firehouse Ministries. It's a men's shelter in Birmingham, and I ended up staying there for a little while. So this is in their old building. So as of like a year ago, they ended up getting some money, all this from donations and all like charity drives, all kinds of stuff. They ended up buying a $1.3 million housing facility for the guys down there, showers, all kinds of stuff, like gated parking for the employees, like my mom and stuff like that. So every dollar counts now. I know that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes,
And
sir.
I have the results here in terms of what y'all posted as well. So in 6th place, Frizzy Zamora had 94 and a quarter. In 5th place, Kaysen, you had 25 and a quarter. David Walker with 25 and a quarter, and looks like probably had that tiebreaker. Carl Hudson in 3rd place had 96 and 3/4. In 2nd place, Brett Middlebrook had 98 and a quarter. And then in 1st place, Dave Hart had 102 inches. So I broke that century mark there. But yeah, so David Walker, man, welcome to the show. We are going to try and get everybody in here at once and see see how this ends up going. But if I end up having to drop somebody out, it's because of signal and not because of anything else. So, David, go ahead and tell us where you were fishing, as general or as specific as you'd like to be, and let us know what charity you ended up donating to as well, and why you chose that.
Okay, thanks. So first off, thanks for having me out. This is probably my third or fourth podcast I've done with different stations and whatnot, but thanks for having me here. So I started out my weekend on Pickwick Lake in Counts, Tennessee. I actually started on the Florence, Alabama end of it, to be honest with you. Stayed over there a couple weeks prior. I was out just doing some fun fishing, and I racked up like 98 inches or so of smallmouth, and had a really good day, like probably one of my best days of fishing, actually. So I was like, well, I'll go back down there. I'm going to try it again. Of course, they done packed their bags and moved out on me at that point. So I struggled that day. The first day, I struggled really hard, and I managed to scratch up one fish for the whole day. And I come back Sunday, and I end up driving like an hour and a half to State Lake, and it's on like 100 acres. And I was like, well, I said, I'm just going to go down here. I'm just going to beat the brakes off this water and hope for the best. I said, if nothing else, my money went to a good cause somewhere down the road. So I ended up actually catching some pretty good fish that day. I actually went back and won another tournament a week later on that same lake. But done really well down there. It was Lake Monroe in Aberdeen or Amory, Mississippi. Got down there and they was chasing bait, and they was two baits I threw, a lipless and a pay rig, and they was just wearing it out. I think I only ended up catching a limit, but they was good quality fish. And I'm one that generally I watch the scoreboard religiously, and I shouldn't. I've been told by many people, quit looking at the scoreboard, because I get in my head, hey, you're sucking it up. You got to do this. You got to have this, So that was actually one of those days where I didn't look at the scoreboard. I just went out there and I thought, I'm just going to fun fish. I'm going to enjoy it, have a good time, do what I know. And actually ended up, got to look, and I was like, oh man, I'm sitting in like third place right now. That's awesome. And then I didn't get that. I did. He did turn them in right there at the last minute. I call it rat holing, Dave. You rat holed your fish until the very last minute. And I looked, and I was like,
That's when I caught him. I wasn't
2 inches.
Yeah,
Sandbagging.
you
I
know,
was like, man, I said, there's always that one person. And so I told my wife, I come home, and she was like, well, how'd you do? I was like, well, I'm sitting in third place right now. I said, but there's always that one person that's gonna hold their fish until the very last minute. And sure enough, she said, well, look at it and see where you're sitting. So I checked it out, and it showed 102 inches in first place. I was like, yep, let me just throw in that hat right there. And so, I just kind of sat there, and I was kind of beating myself up a little bit over it. I was like, I got to do better. I got to hold my fish. I got to quit letting people see my cards here, and I'm going to start rat holding. I'm going to do people this way. And, I chose I actually had a hard choice, a hard decision to make, I guess, with the charities, because there's several local charities that people I know that are putting on and part of, or, I try to support everybody as much as I can. I'm real big in the shop local, do local stuff. So I actually ended up going with the Boonville Junior Auxiliary, which is in my home county. That I live here in Prentice County, and they do every year. They do I'm sure everybody does it somewhere, but they do what they call an angel tree. And she actually is one of my sponsors. Her business is one of my sponsors as well for fishing. But she had hit me up, and she was like, she actually paid my entry fee for the tournament and everything. And she was like, so. For picking a charity, I've got one in mind. If you do good, I've got one in mind for you. And I was like, well, lay it on me. I'm all ears. And she was like, we do the angel tree, and we've got this year they had a big increase. Of course, I'm sure everybody's heard the news. Big furniture place had laid off over here with plants in California. I think he had a plant in like North Carolina or South Carolina or something over there. But they had to shut the doors and fired 2,700 employees or so. Wow. And so a lot of those people, the bigger plants, I think they had like 10 or 12 plants kind of scattered around right here, warehouses and different things, different legs of that whole project. And so a lot of people had lost their jobs and was putting their kids in the angel tree. And there's other places that was letting go of employees and stuff for the year because COVID's starting to show how detrimental it was on the economy and on businesses and whatnot. So she said they had like 360-something kids on the angel tree that parents had put them on. They wasn't going to get to have a Christmas or nothing like that. And, so I just it kind of hit me a little hard, and it kind of makes me think my boys are sitting right here, and I might get a little teary-eyed here for a minute, so you'll have to excuse me, but I can't imagine not being able to have a Christmas for my kids or being able to kind of see their faces light up when they open up a gift that they wanted or just a gift in general. So I decided to go with them and donate my $209.10, which wasn't a lot of money, but it did help furnish kids with a Christmas this year.
That's awesome. And K.A.T.C.H, I did not ask you if somebody that's listening to the podcast and is like, that charity stands out to me, is there a way that I can donate to that? Is there some place that that you can send them to make that donation?
You can just make the check out, or you can make the payment out to the Firehouse Ministries. It's just the Firehouse Ministries. That's as plain as simple as it can be.
Awesome. And David, what about you?
I would have to go back and look at the address and stuff that she gave me to send the check to, because I didn't even know where to send the check, to be honest with you. But if anybody's listening and would be interested in donating to that, whether it be here, but the Junior Auxiliary is what the group is called. You can find me on Facebook, message me, something like that. I'll send you the email or the email address that she gave me to mail any money to.
Awesome. And I will do my best to, if y'all don't mind, either sending that to me, or I'll do my best to find that information. I can put that in the show notes for anybody that's listening.
Well, now that he said that, there's a Google. You can just Google it, and it's like it just comes up as the first thing. It's Fire Ministries, firehouseministries.org. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome. Not entirely sure what that was, but yeah. So
vacuum cleaner.
Just a breaking news. We're gonna have some lures from Mr. B Lure Company thrown in to that giveaway as well. So that Christmas giveaway is gonna be pretty awesome. But yeah, Dave, welcome back. We can that beard is still looking absolutely phenomenal, my man. So we talked a couple weeks ago about your day on the water, and I really what we really talked about was that last couple hours or so. But yeah, kind of give us just a quick recap of your time on the water there and your charity of choice.
Sure, yeah. So thanks for having me back, and nice to see the other guys here too. I can come around and definitely want to give a shout out and thanks to Jackson, because I've had like Christmas Day little deliveries from the sponsors and everything. It's been kind of cool. So I definitely want to circle back on that. I missed the kickoff thing, so I'm sure that's in the cards. But yeah, I'll try to be short and sweet. I mean, most of the details were on the last podcast, so I know David he needs to go back and listen to it, because it was. Yeah, I learned pretty early on sandbagging's not the way to make friends. So believe it or not, it was a struggle, man. It was going into it, it was kind of just it wasn't coincidence. It was meant to be right place, right time. I knew I could fish Friday morning a little bit, and I could fish Sunday. And so really going into it, Friday was only my true intentional day to like try and put something on the board. And, you know, we talked last time, like I was so concerned about fall turnover on our lakes here. You know, I knew with the weather that, you know, it could be good for our lakes around here, but the turnover was probably going to happen that week. And as y'all know, that can shut it down. So Friday went to a spot where, you know, that wouldn't have been an issue, and had caught some big fish in the past and absolutely got skunked. Like, didn't even get a bite of anything. And I kind of knew it, you know, made a bad decision, but, you know, went out Sunday, and really that was a couple days before my birthday, so it was kind of going to be my birthday trip, go catch a big one or whatever. And you know, went into it kind of just relaxed, and fished a local lake here in smack dab middle of North Carolina, a little municipal lake. A lot of local guys around here know it well, so you can probably figure it out. But you know, showed up Sunday and legitimately was the only one in the parking lot. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, usually there's a couple crappie fishermen, even a couple bass fishermen. You know, you see half a dozen out there, and it was completely vacant. And I had the place to myself. And you know, first part of the day, thought it was another bad decision, because I went from I caught on the water a little late. It was pretty chilly. You know, it was in the 20s that night, and I got on the lake about 9:30, and I didn't get a first bite until 12:45. So the first bass I caught was a good one, 20 and a half, I think it was, and had kind of just been bebopping all around this area that's been good to me in the past this time of year, and it just wasn't happening. I was almost getting ready to peel out when I caught the first one, and you know, it was just meant to be. I looked up kind of an area I was already at in the morning. It was desolate, and looked up and I saw one bass bust, which I figured they would be doing. You know, like. You know, in the previous podcast, I was talking like, you know, 2.5 weeks prior to this, we fished an event and we had water temperatures in the upper 60s, and all that weather change came in. I'm sure y'all experienced it too. We had 54-degree water temperatures. But anyway, saw the one bust, bebopped over there, and it was just unbelievable night and day what I was showing on the electronics. I don't know where these bait fish came from. I mean, they were in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and there were just big bass just chewing all through them, every depth of the water column. And so really like the flurry started about 1:30, and I fished till I told myself where I was, I needed to leave about 3:30 to get back in time for the ramp and everything to close. And especially if I'm the only one out there, I know like they're like piddling their thumbs, frustrated at me being out there. But I pushed the limits, and I fished till about 3:45, and in that 2 hours and 15-minute span, I mean, I caught 18 bass, a couple catfish. I mean, it was just insane. I lost a couple big ones, you know, kind of early on in the flurry, and I pushed myself to fish till about 3:45. I caught the last 21-incher. And I pushed it some more and fished about 3:55, and what made normally an hour run, I did it in 35 minutes and hustled to get all my stuff loaded up. I had the biggest Charlie horse of my life getting in my truck, because like I don't have a motor or anything. I was just getting it, pedaling back. And so long story short, all the fish got uploaded. I told myself I had to get out of the lake, you know, so they could close up shop, and so ran up the road to a shopping center and pulled in and uploaded the 5 right down there. So yeah, guilty as charged. I sandbagged for about 3 hours, but really it was all last minute of that last day. And it was insane, man. It's, and the other cool thing, like, now I've been knocking on the door a couple times, but it was the first, 100-inch day period, you know, and let alone doing a tournament for me. So one day was really cool. And, it was just, yeah, right place, right time. And it was, I've been back to that same area twice since. That was on a Sunday, obviously. And then I went back the day before Thanksgiving, caught a couple, 18-inch class fish, but nothing near like what it was on that Sunday. And then oddly enough, went back this past Sunday, very similar conditions, and absolutely skunked. Like everything disappeared. And And I chalk it up to, I think we've been really clouded in here. Like we had like 10 or 11 days in a row of clouds, and I think too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And those fish are just in that little funk where they know it's getting cold, but it hadn't quite got that cold, and so they'll fire up again, and we'll have fun with them. But yeah, I mean, it was an unbelievable, 3 hours on the water, and a lot of frustration up to that point. So.
Absolutely. And remind everybody what charity you chose and why.
Yeah, so it's really cool to hear these stories that are like close to home, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing more research or trying to think of something locally here, but it doesn't mean that it was meant to be where I chose, and that's with the SaveJT.com Foundation. And the quick story of that is it just came full circle to me because I was in the building at the Bassmaster Classic in Texas when we found out about it, and Joe McElroy, brought it to light. He donated his winnings for that tournament and got the whole kayak scene on board. And I got to fish against Joe at KFL this year. So, I just went up to him before we launched and just shook his hand and said, "Hey, man, that was awesome. Like, that was really cool to see and to be there in person, and it's nice to meet you," kind of thing. And didn't think of it at the time. That was back in August, I guess. And so when I was debating it, I was like, that makes sense. Like, anything to contribute that to JT. I mean, he's just he's a warrior, man. He's a little warrior, and every odd's against him, and he keeps knocking them down. And I have to say too, the cool thing was, on a personal level, I know we were working through Jackson with figuring out how to get them, paid or whatever, because they just had the GoFundMe, and he had reached out to Jason, JT's dad, and got through to him and figured that out. And I just felt the need. I just messaged Jason, just say, "Hey, I know you just got contacted. Here's the story real quick." And just gave him the quick and dirty. And he was so cool, man. He was like, "Here's my number. Give me a call." And so he took the time out of his day, and he's a busy dude. And, we had a quick, cool chat about, life and fishing and what his goals are and JT and all that stuff. And, just solid earth guy. And it goes back to the same thing. It's like, to put yourself in his shoes where, I'm blessed to fish, with very little distraction in my life, and we all have ups and downs and all that, but nothing like that where, he's juggling that with chasing his dream, of fishing and just being able to do that and stay level headed and still have focus on his boy and everything. So, it came full circle. It felt right. Still feels right, and I'm happy to be able to contribute. So
that's awesome. Well, I am about to turn Robert loose on asking questions as our resident tournament expert. But before we do that, Jackson, I wanted you to go over the 3 other charities that were donated to. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, sir.
Yeah. So Brett Middlebrook, he's actually a 17-year-old. He got second place, and he chose Love in the Name of Christ. And Carl Hudson, he got third place. He actually, I think it was my first charity tournament I ever hosted. He got a top 3 finish there as well. And this time he chose Alzheimer's Association. And then Frizzy Zamora, he got 6th place, and he chose the St. Jude organization.
Awesome. So just a quick Google search here because I was not familiar with it, but Love in the Name of Christ. So it is looks like it is says helping churches help people. So they mobilize local churches to offer a holistic approach to caring for people in all areas of life: spiritual, mental, emotional, relational, material, and physical. So, so that Alzheimer's Association and St. Jude's. So all phenomenal charities that everybody chose, and a really wide range. It seems of a lot of different people who are impacted by this tournament. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
I am going to release Robert now from and let him ask the question. No,
I think tournament. First of all, tournament expert is a big stretch. Okay, but really, I mean, keep it easy since we have more people than normal on. But we'll start out with K.A.T.C.H and just kind of run down like what you normally fish. Are you doing all online? Do you do some local stuff? Shout out your local club. If you got some local club tournaments that you do, and then just give us a rundown of maybe how you got into fishing and the tournament side of it.
So I fish here in Coleman, Alabama. Shout out to Coleman kayak anglers, I guess, because that's who I started with for the most part. Sorry. And then when I started, I haven't been competitively fishing or at a kayak, more or less, or any kind of boat, let's say, for the past, for only 3 years, really, 2.5. I started competitively bass fishing probably about, 3 years ago. I bought a canoe, an Old Town canoe, about 2.5 years ago. Started to go flip some bushes because I used to do it growing up. Walk in the bank, see a lay down, go throw to it. And put my boat in some local lakes and found some little black sloughs, caught some fish, put it on Facebook. And then somebody from one of the groups, I can't remember who it was like, hey, you should come over and come fish with us. After I'd found all this stuff on Facebook, and he had shown me Tourney X, all this other stuff, and I'd kind of given it the push off or ignored it for a couple months. And then I decided, well, might as well. I ended up joining one of their first month longs. It was best 5 or something like that. Ended up getting a second or third place, and only 10, 15 people. And I was like, well, I can win some actual money doing this. It's $20 maybe. I came with it in the month, but I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I was like, ended up looking up for some more groups. Got a better kayak, ended up getting a new canoe Flint about 1.5 years ago. Did a lot of local stuff around here, Coosa River guys. Did some Iron City, so this is the Birmingham area. Kayak Anglers guys group. Did a couple of their events, kind of the throwdowns, and then I ended up getting an Old Town Sportsman this last year and kind of hit it hard with the Coleman guys locally. And ended up probably, I think if I would have paid the entries at the beginning of the year, probably second or tied for first for the Angler of the Year for the local club here.
Oh, wow.
I ended up second in the Classic for our local club, went to state and blew it. But I haven't got into the Hobie, the whole big deal. I actually, personal friends with Chad Hoover and the guy, he founder of KBF. So, we ended up one of the lakes. I said one of the lakes, but I think I fished 2 lakes for this event, for the weekend. But the one I mentioned, we ended up, filming a episode for Valley Sports or something. So, I've gotten more in depth into it since the longer I've run. So I'm only 3 years now, and I guess we're going up from here, not going down. So hopefully.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's sounds like you're doing pretty well. Just make sure you pay those dang entry fees at the first of the year this next year, so you can. Get in on that points deal. Yeah. I pay mine. I know mine's usually a waste, but just because I don't ever do that good in those. But
I thought it was a waste, so I was like, I had a grudge against them. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to pay $15. I'm not going to even get in the Classic, and then I ended up, tied for first with one of the guys that ended up 3 times. I think through all 4 of the local clubs, he ended up winning Angler of the Year. So it was kind of neck and neck with him all year.
That's good. It sounds like you had a great year. David, kind of the same thing for you, man. Just kind of give us a rundown of what you normally fish and your local stuff and kind of how you got started in it.
Well, I guess I've always fished. I mean, growing up, before I got married, I was fishing with a buddy of mine. He had a bass boat. It was always, me and him were both cops, and so we kind of worked the same shift. And we was like, well, on our off days, we'll go fishing. We started out with on night shifts, we'd night fish or whatever, and it was always go out there. Hey man, I'm gonna make a bet with you tonight. I'll buy you breakfast in the morning if I catch more. If you catch more fish than me, so on and so on, or I'll buy you dinner at work next shift or whatever. So we, done some little friendly wagers, and it kind of got into that. And I won a little bit here and there. Most of the time I was having to buy his dinner all the time, and it broke me. I ended up having to leave being law enforcement and find a real job. So he kind of kept me entangled in fishing all in general. And then I actually hit I don't know if you want to call it a little hard time or what you want to call it, really. I don't know, y'all know how expensive fishing gear is. I think I had like 15 rods, 4 or 5 tackle bags just full of 3700 series trays just loaded down. And I actually got to just a hard time in my life, just aggravated, I guess, and I just sold it all. Guy asked me, he said, how much you want for it? And I said, man, give me $250, you can have it all. And he was like, I'll give you 300 here. And he gave it to me, took it. I watched it walk away, and I was like, I just screwed up. So then I just kind of laid low for a little while, and I ended up kind of easing my way back into it, and I ended up buying a bass boat. And I was like, all right, I'm back into fishing. On the bass boat like 2 months, and it cost me like $4,000 just to get the parts fixed on it, and started falling apart. And I was like, okay, we're getting rid of this bad boy. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what's a cheaper alternative to fish out of that can get me, off the bank? And so I was sitting there fishing off the bank one day, and I saw a guy come in, just throw a kayak in, went out there fishing. I was like, there's the light God has sent me right there. There's my sign. I'm on kayak fish. And so I started out with a Vibe Sea Ghost, a 13-footer, and good Lord, let me tell you what, that's a beast to handle when you're loading in and out of the back of a truck, by the way. So I started out, I was just doing just some little friendly buddy fishing stuff around here and just kind of getting a feel for everything, and ended up joining a group called North Mississippi Kayak Fishing Association. And I kind of left that group since then, but that's another rabbit to be chased. But I started another group called Top of the Sip Kayak Trail, and start a competitive fishing. The group I was in wasn't really competitive. Me, I'm 100% hardcore competitive. And I get real aggravated real easy, and people don't show the dedication that I show and the competitiveness that I show. It kind of aggravates me a little bit. But I've learned to start winging off that a little bit and just kind of going out and having fun. But then I started that, and I was like, you know what? I enjoy this tournament stuff. So I jumped in feet first, eyes closed. I jumped right in the Bassmaster Kayak Series, traveling with them 2 years ago. Going on 2 years ago now. And then last year I eased into them really, honestly. I kind of fished a couple local tournaments with them that was close to me. I say not local, but they was close to me within 6 hours drives. And then last year, of course, I started out the season with them at Lake Fort. And if it could go wrong, it went wrong. From making an 8.5, 9 hour drive to Lake Fort turned into like 14 hours of driving because this massive ice storm comes through. Yeah. And get over, my intentions was leave late Wednesday night, get there Thursday morning at daybreak, start practicing all day. And then I had an Airbnb with several other guys that was fishing it. And so I get over there Thursday morning, like almost lunchtime nearly. And I pull up, and I was like, what are y'all doing? Why ain't nobody free fishing? They was like, you looked at your boat lately? I was like, yeah, it's covered in ice. And he's like, have you looked at ours? And I was like, no. Go out there and look at theirs, and there's like ice that thick. And just all over everything. So we spent the better part of the rest of the day Thursday trying to figure out how we were going to follow the boats out so we could even practice Friday. And so we was trying all the tricks and the trades we could come up with, which worked for about an hour. And we was just going to pour boiling water in them, hot water in them. And lo and behold, that worked great until the crap refroze. So then Saturday morning, we didn't get no practice whatsoever. So Saturday morning I took off, broke my steering cables right out the gate. As soon as I put in the water, it just snapped the cable, and I was like, crap. So I tried it, and the wind was blowing. I was like, yeah, and, trying to hold a rod, trying to paddle this way, paddle that way, do this right here. Trying to steer. The main thing was I was doing was trying to steer. I had a pedal drive at that time. And so I kind of got down on that, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing this competitive crap no more. it ain't worth it to me. And then I got back into it with the West Tennessee Bass Yackers. I fished like 3 or 4 tournaments in a row with them. I traveled with them up to Kentucky Lake, all over West Tennessee a little bit. They actually come down here to some of the home ponds here. And I was actually finishing like top 10 in the first 2 or 3 tournaments I fished with them. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm getting my groove back here. I'm getting into this thing here. And just kind of escalated after that. So now I actually direct the top of the SIP kayak trail. I'm actually tournament director for that. I'm fishing it, West Tennessee. The guys down at Central Mississippi want me to come fish with them a little bit. I don't know that I'm going to make that, but maybe, who knows. And then Bassmaster Series, I'm probably not even going to get to finish it at all this year. The closest they're coming to me is Lake Gunnersville. So it was just kind of an addiction, if you will. From the first time I put a rod in my hand, I went up and down, throwing them away, said I ain't doing it no more, threatened to sell my boat and everything. Of course, now I'm sitting out there. I just put live scope on it. I'm really eager to get out there and get on that, see how that works out for me, because I've seen what it can do for folks, and I disagree with it. I hate it with a passion, but you can't beat them, so you might as well join them. So went ahead and jumped out on that limb, spent that money, and it's just my wife hates me for it every day. It's an addiction that I can't kick, and she was helping me a while ago make out schedule for our group, and I'm having to go around like 4 other groups that we're fishing. Some of us are fishing in them, so I'm trying to schedule around all these other guys. And so I start naming off dates. I was like, are you working this weekend? Are you off this weekend? Can I fish this weekend? She looked, she's like, you just named off like 5 weekends in 1 month that you're fishing. I was like, yeah. She's like, do we fit in there anywhere? I was like, yeah, on the month, there's only 4 weekends. That's where I'll get you in at. But, so I'm just I'm waist deep in it, and I don't know that I could be happier with a hobby that I've chosen, or whatever you want to call it. But, man, I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And if anybody out there is listening, if you're on the fence about kayak fishing, or you've never done it, and this is your first time listening to the show because somebody you know is on it tonight, I highly recommend that you get out there and give it a shot and try it. I've been in a bass boat. I'm sure most of us here have been in a big bass boat before, and probably still fish out of one today too. But kayak fishing, to me, there's nothing like it. It's a challenge from getting that thing in the water to getting out of the water. Everything's a challenge. So that's kind of my little backstory there. Sorry if I tied up a little too much time on that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That was perfect. So, I'm the same way. I love everything about it. And, you were kind of trying to figure out what to call it. It's an addiction. I think everybody sitting here on this thing will tell you it's an addiction, whether it's kayak fishing or big boat, either way. But I think the kayak thing, there's just something a little different about it. So I agree totally with it.
Addiction is one word, obsession is the other one.
Yeah. The only thing that comes close to it only thing that comes close to it in my book is waterfowl hunting, and that's right now a close second. But that was a good rundown, and I know Dave Hart, we went over last time a couple weeks for all your stuff, so you guys go back and listen to Dave's story on that from it'll be 2 episodes ago once this one was out. And then I'm just going to kick it back to Cam and see what else you got for tonight.
Well, the only other main thing that I wanted to make sure that we got to do was have everybody, shout out sponsors and supporters and anybody you want to say thank you to. Tell us where to follow you, or if you've got some sort of social media or YouTube channel or anything like that, make sure you plug that. And we can start with Dave and work our way back to Case. And so Dave, go for it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as sponsors that we covered last time, no personal sponsors or anything, just, fishing with the KFL last year and this upcoming year, those team sponsors we have, and we'll be rolling that out, in the near future, as we get rolled up. But yeah, I was thinking as you were going through, back to where you got started with fishing, and this will tie into the thanks, but I guess I got kind of a theme going on with full circle because I was thinking like, the first fish I actually remember catching and actually, falling in love with fishing was I actually lived in Indiana. So Jackson's neck of the woods, kind of the opposite side of the state. I lived on the Wabash River below Lafayette in a little town. And I just remember, we'd either go to Morgan Row State Park and fish a little, just bobber cork fishing. And we had a little catfish stock pond across the river we'd go to, fish there, a couple crappie quarries and things like that. And had a buddy that had a house up on a little chain of lakes. I don't know exactly where it is in north central Indiana, but somewhere probably not too far to the west of where Jackson's from. So full circle, but that leads me to just say thanks to Jackson, man. I'm just blown away that, this thing has become what it is just in the 5 short years he's been doing it. And I'm thinking back, never really talked to him before, but just, understanding how, how young he is and the head he's got on his shoulders to be doing this. I'm certainly wouldn't be doing this at my age, like, sitting in a college dorm room or whatever. I'm just guessing, writing out checks and talking to sponsors and getting all this lined up. And it's just amazing. Like, so kudos to you, Jackson, for putting this together and getting the whole, getting over 100 people to sign up is awesome. And, I'll do my part going forward to advertise it and try to double that, for the years to come and keep it growing. It's been so cool. Like the sponsors are just awesome. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like Christmas morning every other day, like something will pop in on a doorstop and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And aside from that, just, like, heck, I even got a personal message from one of them. It was the Real Tree Fishing, guy sent me a personal email and said, hey man, congratulations, but sorry we hadn't got your package out. We had Black Friday and all this stuff. I'm like, why? You don't apologize for that. Like, thank you. So just the support and the professionalism, from these sponsors and stepping up. It's not easy. And, I mean, you all know how hard it is, just personal sponsors or team sponsors or whatever. So all the organization, all the behind the scenes, I can't imagine how much work went into it. So Jackson, kudos, man. And I wish you nothing but the best, in your career and your growth and getting out of school and wherever you're at and all that stuff. So
thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. And thank you for signing up, supporting the event, supporting me. I mean, I couldn't do it without you guys.
Awesome, man. No, thank you. That's all I got.
All right. And David, what about you, man?
Yeah, I want to give a huge shout out first and foremost to my biggest supporter, my wife, both financially, mentally. She makes the bread. She does all that. So I work for the state, so I don't make no money. So she does all that for me. So without her, none of this would happen because she went and picked the boat up for me and everything. So, but first and foremost, I want to thank her for all her support and her traveling with me and sleeping in tents and at 28 degrees outside on the edge of Lake Gunnersville with a north wind and, Itch's Fishing, Elusive Baits, Ant Sports Hub, Vector Hooks, Titan Tungsten, all you guys. They provide me with some excellent fishing products. If you're not sponsored by anybody, and you're looking for something that, some good products, check out Vector Hooks. So, man, them hooks are freaking awesome. Titan Tungsten, they make some really good tungsten weights, in my opinion. Give on guys a shout out and check them out, all the products. Really, that's pretty much the only ones, my main sponsors there. I just thanks Jackson for putting this on. This is actually, I didn't answer this question a while ago when I was actually supposed to, I guess. As far as online fishing, this one was my very first online fishing tournament. I've always done in person, hand to hand, no PayPal, nothing like that. But this was my very first online. Since then, I've exceeded a little bit, and I've done fixing to finish my third Socks and Cookies online event. If y'all have never heard of that, I think most of y'all probably fished it already. I think I remember seeing some names on there. So, anybody that's listening, if y'all kayak fish and want to do some online fishing, Socks and Cookies does a really good thing for our military. They're doing a winter trail right now. Next one's in January. I don't know the date it's on Tourney X, or it was. I think he took it down to make some changes. But y'all give them a look on Facebook. If anybody wants to follow me, you're more than welcome to. My Facebook's at I think it's either David Walker Fishing or DW Fishing. I can't remember. Or maybe D Walker Fishing. I got like 5 accounts, and every one of them got a different name. So either David Walker Fishing, DW Fishing, D Walker Fishing. It's one of those on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. My Snapchat's just David Walker 52. So, so anybody wants to come follow me, y'all come on, give me a follow. I'll follow you back, and we'll watch each other grow as anglers, and brag each other on when we catch those big ones. Because everybody likes to be bragged on when they catch a big one. I know I do. But thanks for having me, guys. That's pretty awesome being on here with you guys tonight. I appreciate that. And Jackson, again, I appreciate you putting on this awesome event. I actually look forward to fishing with you again next year.
Thank you.
What you're doing is really awesome. Dave kind of hit the nail on the head and summed everything up for pretty much for what I have to say. What you're doing at the age of 19 in the college dorm room would not be anything I would imagine I would have been doing. I'm 37-year-old. So, kudos to that. Hats off to you on that, man. And Jackson, do you fish college level, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, I fish college, Hobies. I mean, everything really.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the only series I haven't stepped off into yet is Hobie series, and I'm kind of iffy about it because they fish way away from where I live at, and I ain't about those 13, 14-hour drives up in the Sequoia River or whatever it's called, and Champlain and all up in there. I can't handle that. I ain't that of a big boy yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a few of those next year, I guess. We'll see how that goes.
Well, good luck to you in that, brother. But again, thanks for everything you did, man. That was an awesome event. To see 109 anglers sign up and kind of put up the money that was put up. That's awesome.
No, thank you so much for the support.
Absolutely.
I was telling Joe, he's 19, so he can drive 19 hours or 2 hours of sleep and not miss it. 35 was the cutoff for me. I just turned 40, so.
Yeah, I can drive an hour when I'm looking for a cup of coffee or an energy drink or something.
Yeah, David, I'm right there with you. I'm 35, and I know myself. At 19, I mean, right now I'm not organized enough to put something like this on. At 19, there's absolutely no way that I could have even come close to it. And the fact that this is his 5th one,
yeah.
That's the part that really blows my mind. But
that trips me out. You're talking what is that? That's 14. You was 14 when you first started this?
14, yeah. I'm actually I'm 20. Crap. I'm 20 now. Yeah,
okay.
I was 15. 15.
Even still, wow. I mean, how many 15-year-olds do you see trying to put on a charity tournament for not just a charity of his choice, charity everywhere of the angler's choices? How many 15-year-olds are thinking like that?
No, it's
absolutely amazing, man. I mean, that's astonishing. I don't even know what to say to it. That's astonishing right there, man. That's awesome.
It's crazy how much has grown over the years too. I mean, sponsors. I mean, people signing up. I mean, it has kind of declined over the years a little bit. Like my 3rd annual one, we had 247, and then it's kind of got a little lower. But I'm confident those numbers are going to get up. And one day, I feel like over the years, I feel like we can reach that 1,000 anglers. I think we can.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, we'll get her there. We'll get her there.
Awesome. Well, Kaysen, what about you, man? Go ahead, shout out those sponsors, supporters, anybody you want to say thank you to, and plug your social media and YouTube, any kind of content that you're putting out there.
So my mom and dad, for the most part, I'm young, just like Jackson. I'm only 25, but I'm also married, my wife too, but they put up with my crap, my spending habits, and my addiction, as we call it. Other than that, I really don't have any sponsors. I want to shout out Joe Drowns. He's a local tournament director here. He just started a group up over the past year at Yak and Grass. It's a Gunnersville-based tournament. We'll have them all over Gunnersville. for 2023. But he's the one who actually told me about Jackson's tournament. I had seen it over the past couple years in the scene and just didn't know. I originally thought it was for him for some reason. Someone had, I guess, had told me it was for him or a charity for something that he had going on in his life, but I didn't know. So it was always later in the year. I was doing dugout online, so I just passed it up. I guess I don't know why. And he had this, like I said earlier in the podcast, it was just I had the weekend, so he said, "Why don't you sign up?" And I was like, "Well, it's for charity." Like David said, my $20 is going to wind up somewhere good, even if I don't win. So it was like that. They've both said like Dave said, it's. I mean, I wouldn't be doing that at 15, 16. I was worried about girls in the car at 15 and 16. Not fishing. I had to have kids to worry about fishing and getting out of the house. But other than that, I mean, the sponsors here, the guys here, the sponsors that came in for the tournament. I mean, like Dave said, it's like Christmas every day. My wife jokes, it's like, "Are you sure you got 5th place? Because you keep getting stuff. Are you sure Jackson didn't misplace you for the 1st place winner?" I was like, I don't know. So yeah, it's awesome to have $100 and $200 pair of sunglasses that my dad says will wind up at the bottom of the lake. So living higher life now. So that's about it.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on here. That too. That was other than that.
Absolutely. And Jackson wanted to let you shout out all the sponsors that helped out and made this tournament possible.
Yeah, there were a lot of sponsors for this tournament. They're actually companies that I've worked with in the past and have personal relationships with, which makes it even more special to me. And I just couldn't be grateful for all of those companies. I'm not going to name them. You can go to my Facebook. I mean, they're all over my posts. They're just, I mean, the companies are amazing, but the individuals behind them, for them supporting this event over the years is just super, super special and means a lot to me. And I mean, they donated a lot of great prizes, a lot of expensive prizes, and it's super cool to, see them do that. And I feel like it's going to get even better over the years to come. So, and I want to thank you guys for having me on and, getting everyone on tonight. It's really cool. We've never done this in the past, and it's cool to hear everyone's experience and charity, like what the story behind the charity they picked. And obviously you guys that fished the tournament and supported it, posted about it, shared it, means a lot.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you all for coming on the show. I've enjoyed doing this one. I haven't had this many people on one show before, so I think I think it went really well. It's always nice whenever we can get this many people on a show and not feel like we're talking over everybody and all that good stuff. So that's always awesome. And again, thank you all for coming on, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and hopefully I see y'all's name again on the K.A.T.C.H tournament roster next year. And at the end of the tournament, I hope to see it below my name. So.
I gave some secrets for our backyard, so yeah, you better be out there. As long as it gets postponed again, it's got to be November again, late October, November.
Yeah.
Is it postponed this year?
Yeah, I postponed it several weeks just because it was like super hectic. I was dealing with a few things within that several weeks, and it was hard for me to promote it and everything. So I wanted to really promote it before the event started.
Yeah.
And promotion's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were joking. That was our saving grace that, it kind of, by that cold front coming through, when it did, it kind of knocked South Texas, Florida, South Mississippi, Alabama, all those guys out. So kudos to you guys that fish in Alabama. I don't know how far north you got, but yeah, I know it was tough. That changed everything. I mean, I knew kind of.
Oh yeah.
It did.
Yeah, sir. It was meant to be.
Oh, I was hesitant to even fish when I saw Florida, California. I think there's somebody from California was on there, and I saw those. I was like, you know what? I mean, it's $20. $20 is $20. Just let's go. I'm gonna fish. I have a reason to fish this weekend anyway. I mean, I never thought in a million years, fishing them Florida fish. I'd have never thought I'd have had a snowball's chance in Mississippi in July to compete with any of those guys. And then to see I was sitting in third place until Dave finally submitted his fish, and then I got bumped fourth. But even still, I was like, hey,
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, I told everybody, I was like, it's a nationwide tournament. So, I mean, I'm not going to compete with the guys in Texas and Florida being up here in North Carolina this time of year. So, I mean, it's like, I'm donating to a charity. I'm just waiting to find out which one, and I'm going to go out and fish for fun, but I'm not going to be able to compete with this. And then I'll be doggone if somebody just down the road from me didn't end up in first place and made a liar out of me.
It was really good to see. I mean, and there was a bunch of good fish caught. I mean, it wasn't like a dink fest or nothing like that. I mean, there was a lot of quality fish caught. And I think, like Dave said, I think that cold front coming through, I mean, whether you was in front of the cold front or you was behind it, I really think that was what triggered the big girls to come up and play. I know Friday and Saturday was a struggle because Friday I was pre-front and it was just a struggle. The wind was blowing, starting to pick up. I was trying to find a place to get, and it was hard to get to where I needed to be. I was fishing wind-blown banks, and I was staying in the bank more than I was anything. I mean, I had spot lock on. I had my cruise control on and everything, trying to just stay with it, throw a spinnerbait, beat the bank. And then Saturday come around, and it was another cold front coming Saturday. It's like a big cold front and then a little cold front right behind it. And so, Saturday, I started out Saturday morning, it was like 50s, low to mid 50s. I was like, it's going to be all right. So I started coming out of my bibs and getting out of the clothes, and I'm shedding layers. And then by like 2 o'clock, the sun's gone, the clouds rolled in, the winds picked up, temperature starts falling. I was like, oh my God, it's gotten so cold. Like my feet were cold, my hands were cold. I was like, at 4 o'clock, I was like, I can't even take it no more. I mean, I still got 45 minutes or so of daylight to try to catch some fish and try to put some on the board. I said, but I just can't handle it no more. And lo and behold, I was coming out of a pocket right there, and I said, I started graphing, and I seen a bunch of fish right there. I throw it off in there, pulled one largie out, and I was like, all right, there's just go the fish right here in the mouth of this pocket. We're fixing to fish it for a minute. Throwed it back in there, tried again. It was a crankbait, and I was running it. And I'll be dang if it wasn't a school of stripers. They just happened to be a sickly looking fish down there with them. And he was just hungry, and I guess he was just eating anything that swam by him. And then the rest of them, I think I caught like 4 more stripers out of it. And I was like, man, screw it. I'm done. I'm going to the house. I decided pretty much at that point I was done. I was like, I might as well even fish tomorrow. These fish are going to be lockjawed. They're not going to bite. And then I said, I'm going to go hit a state lake up. And that's where I went Sunday. And that lake's known for having some big fish in it. And so I said, well, hopefully they're doing something down there. And I mean, as soon as I put my boat in the water, it wasn't even daylight yet. I put my boat in the water, and I was easing out there graphing some spots that I had marked a couple years ago or a couple tournaments ago. And they started busting top water, and I was like, okay. And I'm sitting there looking and watching my graph, and I'm seeing running bait balls just on my left side, on my right side, right under me. You could hear the shad bumping the bottom of the kayak, and I was like, all right, let's try this and see. So I started ripping a lipless through there, and I mean, it was just, they started wearing it out. I mean, I just started catching them. I was like, okay, I'm on to something here. And it might have been a week later. It was either 1 or 2 weeks later. I had that socks and cookie tournament that it was just last one I won, and I actually won it off that same lake. And I actually think I might have caught a couple of the same fish, to be honest with you. I had a 22 1/4, 2 21 1/2, and 19 3/4, and a little 17 1/2. I think is what I was trying to call, but it was just he was loaded up with some big girls, and it was a wild ride. But they won me some money, so I was all right with that.
That's awesome. All right, y'all. Well, again, thank y'all so much for coming on the show, and wish y'all all the best.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Atollis, based out of Charleston, South Carolina, is an eyewear accessory and gear company focused on enhancing your time on the water. Their floating sunglass retainers are the most technically advanced around. Over 5 years of engineering, testing, and exhaustive feedback from paddlers, anglers, and watermen have resulted in a patented design in a class of its own. They're incredibly light and comfortable, built for durability, sport a sleek, minimal design, float virtually all brands and models of sunglasses, and they're backed for life. So if you break them, Atollis will replace them. No questions asked. Whether you're fishing, kayaking, or boating, Atollis will save your shades from the dream. Head on over to atollas.co to check out their gear and use promo code faithnfish15, that's faith the letter N, fish the number 1, 5, at checkout to save 15% on your order. Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle in Greensboro, North Carolina offers a wide range of products and services designed to help protect the environment and enhance the time people spend enjoying the outdoors. With an expansive year-round inventory of kayaks, SUPs, bikes, kayak fishing accessories, paddling clothing, biking accessories, and more, Get Outdoors has established itself as one of the top paddle sports and biking shops in the Southeast. They also offer a wide range of kayak safety and technique courses to get you comfortable in your new boat. They'll even get it rigged up for you. Stop by the shop in Greensboro, North Carolina, or check them out at shopgetoutdoors.com.
All right, another huge thank you to Jackson, Dave, David, and Kaysen for coming on the show and sharing about their charities and the tournament. And, that was a fun one, man. Robert,
that was a good one. I'm just got a little tickled because just to close the show out, David he just kind of. It felt like we had Gerald Swindle on the show and he was doing one of those on stage, just run on, like talking about his day. I don't know if you guys have ever watched any of those videos of him doing his, speech as he weighs in, but I feel like that's what David just did and gave us the rundown at the end of that. That was awesome. I enjoyed it. It just got me tickled thinking about because he's either North Alabama or North Mississippi, but he's got that same accent that Swindle has, and it got me tickled at the end of that. So that was a great way to end that show. And on a serious note, it's an awesome tournament that Jackson puts on every year, and I really think just sitting there with 6 people who. Or 5 people that were in it, and Jackson, really highlights kind of what the kayak tournament and club scene. That's what it is. Just a bunch of guys. Whether you're at a campsite or whatever, it's just a different feel, and just to hear those guys get fired up about the tournament and wanting to help Jackson grow it, and get some money for whatever charities that goes to the winner's choice. But I always look forward to that each year. So I'm glad we were able to have all those guys on, and look forward to doing it again next year.
Absolutely. And like I said, the main reason for this episode was to just kind of shine a spotlight on the charities that were chosen. And like I said earlier, I will have all of those links in the show notes, so that and information in the show notes, so that if you heard about a charity on this show that you're like, man, that really speaks to me and I want to help out, I will have that information so that you can do that. But yeah, Robert, did you have anything to add on this one?
No, man, I'm good to go, man.
Awesome. Well, I will say, because of the format of this one, I forgot to add those 2 extra ads that would typically run in the middle there to the ads that we did play. So wanted to shout out Jade's Jigs. Use use promo code FNF10 at checkout there, and get yourself some lead-free, eco-friendly jigs. And then Mr. B Lure Company, they have all of the phenomenal skirted and wired baits. And use promo code. You'll see it's faithnfishn pod 1x10 for 10% off your first purchase. So go ahead and head over to that. And Robert, you want to sign it off again?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just great show, great week. Don't forget, we're taking a little break after this one, and then we'll get some shows front loaded for January and February, and ready to rock and roll in 2023.
That's right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Y'all take care, and God bless.
Thank you for listening to the Faith and Fishing podcast. Faith and Fishing is produced and hosted by me, Cam Steele, and is sponsored by Jade's Jigs, Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle, Savior Outdoors, Atollas, and Mr. B Lure Company. Be sure to give us a rating and a review, and to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. That's going to do it for this episode. Y'all take care, and God bless.